MP, federal member for Bradfield, here to speak with us. I think one of the things you need to know about Paul's electorate is if you go to his website, you can find out about him in Hindi, you can find out about him in Korean, you can find out about him in Mandarin, and of course English. And I note that Paul and I were both born the same year, and we have a significant birthday coming up a little later, our 21st next year. But whilst I've wasted the last 15 years of my life in journalism, he has been the member of Bradfield since 2009, an apprenticeship in the opposition before forming government under Tony Abbott, where he was successively Parliamentary Secretary, a Minister and Cabinet Minister. Social services, frontbench service was largely in communications infrastructure. He was the Minister for Communications, Urban Infrastructure, Cities and the Arts in the Morrison government. He's now the Shadow Minister for Science, Arts, Government Services and the Digital Economy, most importantly, a very busy man. Before politics, of course, Paul's extensive private sector experience included 8 years as senior management at Optus, dual first-class honours and economics from Sydney University. I'm going to point to you as an inspiration for my daughter, who I think wants to go down a similar path. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the Honourable Paul Fletcher to the stage.
Well, thank you very much, and it's great to be here at Intersekt. And certainly the growth in Australia's fintech sector is very impressive, from $250 million industry in 2015 to a $45 billion industry today. In my remarks, I want to discuss the role of the fintech sector in driving innovation. I then want to talk about why that matters for our economy. And thirdly, I want to point to some differences between the current government's approach to these issues and the approach that the coalition brings. We know, of course, that Australia has a large and vibrant fintech sector. According to KPMG, 830 fintech companies operating in Australia. And that role in driving innovation is so important, because what unites those companies, I'd suggest, is a focus on winning customers by offering cheaper and faster ways to do things, such as making a payment or converting between currencies. Companies like Airwallex and Wise, amongst others. Last year, I had the chance to meet with several of the companies that were participating in the central bank digital currency trial that was then underway. And of course, the RBA, just at this conference yesterday, was making some comments about where they see the way forward, with an emphasis or a greater interest, it would seem, in wholesale rather than retail central bank digital currency. But I was struck by some of the innovative use cases that different companies were exploring. Not centralised was looking at the use of digital currency to address the problem of subcontractors in the construction sector not being paid, and their solution was to make the payment in digital currency and attach one or more conditions to the payment, so the money is automatically released when the condition is met. So when a third-party certifier says yes, the plumber has completed the work that he or she has been contracted to do, then that's an embedded condition and the payment is automatically released. Another company, Imperium Markets, who operate an exchange for buyers and sellers of bonds, their project was to use central bank digital currency to allow real-time settlement in the wholesale market. I was surprised to discover actually that that doesn't exist right now. And thinking about the comments that the Reserve Bank has made about their interest in potentially wholesale digital currency, perhaps that is an application that might see some progress. But of course, while there's innovation in those different trials that were carried out last year, there's innovation on a daily basis being delivered by fintech businesses across the entire scope and reach of the sector. There's a whole range I could mention, but I'll just touch on a couple that I've had the privilege of visiting in the last year. In the insurance space, so the digital insurance startup Honey, using better information about customers and their risk levels to offer better pricing. Honey gives its customers AI-enabled smart sensors to install in their homes, and that allows them to offer a discount on the customer's premiums. Or Numerisk, based here in Melbourne, who I have also had the chance to go and meet, using artificial intelligence to collate data from across the finance industry to produce report cards on a single user-friendly digital dashboard, allowing businesses quickly and accurately to assess the quality and risk of multiple insurance products. Well, this kind of innovation means customers get served better and also means that innovative businesses can build revenue and generate returns for their shareholders. But the important economy-wide benefit is that it helps productivity. Australia has a productivity problem, and under this government, productivity is down by over 6% in the last 2 years. Australia, as the Business Council pointed out in a 2023 report, Seize the Moment, quotes, "On our current path, we face the real risk of Australia being overtaken by the rest of the world and Australians being worse off for generations to come." The report, however, also highlighted ways in which we can improve our prospects by boosting our productivity. And I have been struck by some of the ways that different businesses in the fintech sector are doing that. I've been interested to meet a number of lenders who are using artificial intelligence to look at the banking records of a business, of a business customer, to determine factors such as the earnings and cash flow of that business customer, seasonal variations, growth rates, and so much else. I've heard from lenders as varied as NAB, Block, and Shift that this is allowing lenders to provide finance in circumstances where, on more traditional criteria, the customer might have been rejected. In turn, that means more small and medium businesses able to secure finance, serve customers, and create jobs. So that's very important from an economy-wide perspective in driving productivity. That nexus between fintech and productivity is very important. One other example that I was lucky enough to see last year on a visit to India was the extraordinary growth of the digital identity system Aadhaar in that country, with 1.3 billion people having a digital identity. And what was very interesting was the downstream benefits in allowing transactions to occur more efficiently,